Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a product review for you that I've already been testing for over a month. I would say maybe about 6 weeks now, and I'm absolutely obsessed about it. So I want to brag about this product because I think everybody needs one, and it really ties in with my philosophy of creating small habits every day to work on your health. And this is super easy to use, and doesn't take time out of your day. Just like, for example, if you have to do a meditation, if you have to go for a practice, go for exercise, etc., it takes time out of your day. Where this is a complementary add-on, so you can use it whilst you're doing other things. And especially post stressful situations, you can feel your blood pressure's going up, your body's shaking, things are happening, and you don't know how to calm yourself down. Now I have found you your solution, right? So from a clinical perspective, I have been able to find that this machine has been able to reduce stress, anxiety, truly helping your brain understand all the stress and anxiety about future things that may not happen and switch you back to being into the present. Noting hormonal improvement, noting in terms of in the bedroom, intimacy wise, the experience of an orgasm is heightened, and your body starts to recognize what is sensitization versus desensitization. So what happens, and I would say probably this story is probably 99% true for everybody, is that at some point in your life, especially in childhood, there's some form of childhood traumatic experience that could lead to PTSD, that could lead to numbing, that could lead to disassociation, that could lead to you not being able to manage well, that starts expressing itself as anxiety, depressive-like symptoms, right? But people then don't know what to do, how to manage it, how to control it, and not recognizing that this is something that's working in the mind as well as physiologically affecting the body, and what we would frame as cellular trauma, right? So for me, understanding now how to get the body in a better position, trying to get the mind in a best position as possible. But now what is our next step to how can we start to manage stress? Stress is unavoidable. As I always say, there's no amount of meditation or practices that you have how to manage stress, right? Quit your job, leave your kids, leave your partner, and go traveling and eat whatever you want and be in a great country. But that is not possible. So it's learning about how we can manage our stressful situations whilst being in the same environment, right? So this machine that I've discovered, it's super easy to use. It complements your day-to-day activities. You don't have to take time out in order to use this machine. And it is such a powerful tool and resource that if you have a very triggering situation or a traumatic situation, then you're able to use it, and it can actually literally calm you down. So you can respond to a situation rather than react. So a lot of research has been done around this. What we call is neuromodulation. So how to rewire the brain is basically what I'm trying to say. In simplified terms, is sort of the red light that goes on when you're exposed to a heightened stressful situation. So you talk about those common terms of fight, flight, freeze, potentially fawn, but not necessarily in this case. And then the body goes red alert, trauma is happening, we need to go into a state of survival. And what will happen then is your brain, as we figuratively say, is being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, and all you need to do is run away from the situation. Unfortunately, in our daily lifestyle, society has normalized stress to a point that we have now considered it and deemed it normal in our bodies, and now have not been able, or have lost the understanding of what is normal and what isn't, what is stressful and what isn't. So our body is now living in this permanent state of stress. And I see that sort of red fire ambulance symbol going woo, 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 woo. And we've just normalized that. So we're becoming like zombies, becoming numb, we're becoming disassociated. And then as we get older, we're just piling on more stresses. So what this machine is basically doing, just like I say to people with breathwork, as a breathwork facilitator, we don't know how to breathe properly. We don't know how to do our basic functions properly anymore. So we now have to go through this example of retraining. So what I do with people as a gut health specialist, I'm constantly retraining people, potty training, right? eating training, mindfulness training, behavioral training. And now what we need to do, which I haven't been able to master yet until now with this new tool, and I'd like to say it's futuristic, cutting edge technology, and even I'd frame it as a biohacking tool because it's just so powerful what it can do and get you to optimize yourself faster, better, more efficiently, and a day-to-day practice. So when you purchase this machine, then you can obviously use it every day, so you get your value's worth. And I can tell you from personal experience, you definitely want to, right? So what's happening now is our vagus nerve needs to learn to work properly, which is, okay, stressful situations happened, it's gone now we switch off and we wait for the next big trigger if there is one, right? So what this machine is doing is teaching you switch off, and that will come to a day-to-day, daily practice, right? And then through that you can see. So with this machine, we're working with a setting where you can work up to 60 minutes a day, and you can do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. You can do morning sessions, you can do night sessions, you can split it, or you can just do one chunk in one go. What I recommend is for people who are doing it in the beginning, at least for the first week, do about 15 minutes because it can be quite overwhelming for your body, and it can also be a bit painful because you clip it onto your ear. This is what I personally experienced. I just felt like my ear was aching for a bit. I had about 3 to 4 days. A couple of feedback from other clients have mentioned could be about a week. So let's start with slower and build up our tolerance. You can go up to setting 45. So when I first started, I worked with about 16, built up to 19. I'm sort of bouncing because different days, different stresses, so differently heightened. I work between about average 21, 22, 23. The highest I've ventured so far is about 30, 33, but it can be quite sensitive. So you're going to look for a balance between feeling the sensation, the pulsation, and I've tried to equate it to be like an electric fence where it's da, 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 da. You want to be present with that. It can happen, especially as you become more experienced, that once you're, maybe just call it 5 minutes in, you start to notice that you don't notice the pulsation. You can re-switch on the machine and then activate it again, and you can increase gradually your level and then just see when you start to get that sensation again. So that's the best way I can say it. It's like an electric fence, right? What I do recommend, because what we're trying to do is to reduce stress levels in the body, and stress we can equate to what we term in medical terms as cortisol levels. So you'll hear this catchphrase everywhere, what are your cortisol levels? So cortisol levels we do need in the body, but when the system floods excessively in our body, that's when it's not good for us. So we need to clear that out. What happens is when we go to bed at night, and in order to wake up, our body will send cortisol, stress going through the body to go, a huge wake up call, let's wake up. So that's when your levels will be spiked quite high. So that's when I recommend, if you're going to choose one time a day to use it, absolutely use it then. But my best recommended protocol is to do half an hour in the morning, as soon as you wake up, brushing your teeth, having breakfast, whatever you're doing, typing on the computer, doing a meditation. Sometimes what I do is, because as well, sound healing, I will do some sound healing practices whilst having the machine on. And then you can then go to the end of the day. And then what I like to do is just before bed, then have the remaining session, so 30 minutes in this example. And then that can just help you to start to switch off. That can help you to improve your sleep patterns and reduce your stress so you can have a better, effective, deep rest, right? So that's what I recommend. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demo you the machine, what it looks like once you get it, and then I take you through your next steps. Right, so once you get this, you're going to get a little parcel, of course. You're going to open it up, and you're going to get this beautiful box, as you see here, right? The actual machine itself, because I've got two, will look like this, right? What you will get in here is a protective sleeve, so you can carry your Nurosym around you 24/7. So it's really good if you have it in your handbag or wherever you may be venturing, especially if you maybe do part stays in different places, or maybe have multiple residents, or you stay at a partner's house, etc. So what I can say from experience is you just always want to have it on you. Better safe, because now that I've been using the machine, I've had situations where I've been stressed, I've been triggered, and then I'm like, oh, I really would have benefited from having this machine now. So it's displayed very beautifully. So you get that over there. So that's the base of the machine. Then you're going to open this up where you're going to have the charger and also the earpiece, as well as the instruction manual on how to set up. But it's very easy, but I'm going to do it for you anyway. So you get that as well. So it slips out, so then you'll get a different piece. Get it out nice and slowly. So that's what you'll see, is you'll get the charger and then you'll get the earpiece. So of course, because the earpiece hasn't been used previously, you're going to try and figure out the way to bend it around your ear, and everyone's got differently shaped ears, the different comfort, different levels. So you're just it's gonna take a few uses to obviously get that to be compliant around your ear specifically. So this is how the charger looks like. So what you will need to do is charge the machine beforehand. So as I always say to everyone, once you get it, before you even think about using it, open it up and get it charging, right? So how it will work, I'll just use my own device, is that you'll have the bottom piece here. So I always say the big bottom at the top is facing up with the screen, so the bottom there. So what you'll do is you'll get the charger, I don't know which way to view it, get the charger, plug it in that way, right? And then you just plug it in, USB cable, and quite nifty and useful, and then you just leave it to charge. It will present flashing lights so when it's charging, so that's quite helpful. And then the exact same piece, when you want to plug in the earpiece, you'll just plug it in this way, right? Like that. Let's see, so this is a brand new piece, and you can see my piece. It looks like an ear, if you will, right? So that's really helpful. So that's how it works. And now, if we talk about how to switch the machine on, what you will do is the bottom piece here, the small button, you're just going to hold it, right? And then it goes, hello, I am on. It has a memory recall of how many minutes you've set it to. So the first is time, which you will see by the clock anyway. So it's quite useful, quite easy telling what it is. So as I always say to people, so you've got the plus and minus button, so you can then increase or decrease. But the minus button, sorry, when you first start, I forget, but it definitely started on a small setting. But let me actually see this brand new device. It starts at 60 as well. So never mind. I would definitely say for your first time, try about 15 minutes, right? So then once you set it, so I'll just go back to 60 because that's my general setting. So you can just hold it down, which is useful. I click next. Then this will be your pulsation setting, so the frequency. So as it recommends, especially the first time when you're not used to it, just go 1 per second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And you'll start to feel this in your ear, right? And then only when you're comfortable and are a practice user, then you can just literally, like I do, I'll just start going up. And you'll notice different days you'll have different levels of sensitivity, but at the moment I venture between 20 to 30. At the moment, the last few days, a much lower amount, about 20, 21. Once you do, you click this button, and then that's saying it's ready to go. I'm just going to plug it in just to make sure that it understands. What you don't want to make the error of is that you go to your minutes, you go to your setting, let's just use that as an example, and then you leave it thinking that's what the setting is. You need to actually click the button, because otherwise it's going to not take in the setting, and then you're going to have it beating for a minute or so, then actually it switches off, and then you won't even know that you've actually not been having the machine running the whole time. So you need to effectively switch the button, and then that light needs to say that it's on, and then that is on. Right, the screen will disappear, and as I say, as you build a better tolerance, you'll start to notice that the pulsation effect will just slightly disappear. So that when that happens, I personally say you should go back in and then increase the strength. So you need to double tap and tap again, so it goes from the time, because you can reduce the time, of course, but I wouldn't typically. But then you can increase the speed, or equally reduce because you think, oh, that's a bit hard. Then you need to click the button again for it to go, and it will tell you the time. Obviously, if you've gone 10 minutes in, it will say what your true time is and switch off, and then you go. Right, so that's really helpful. How to actually, I'm just going to switch it off here. How to actually get the device to work itself is you're going to clip it on. It has to be your left ear. Listen to me. Your left ear, left ear, left ear. Yes. I had a client say, I tell you first, where you will be placing the device is on your tragus. So this little funny bit here. So I had a client tell me that he'd been using the machine for months, didn't notice any benefits, but turned out he was clipping it down here, right? So incorrect place. So in order for this to create an effect, you need to have your ear wet. In the suggestions, it says to use soapy water, but we may not on hand have soapy water. So if you're in a place anywhere and you need a quick fix, a little bit of saliva, rub the ear, and that's fine. I personally like to have a cream on standby. So I have a little cream from a game lodge, actually, from my friend's wedding. Lasts forever. But so what I just do is I use, it can be any lotion, body lotion, whatever, but the premise is you need to have the tragus lubricated. So you rub here. I go inside and on the other side, so inside and outside. And then what you'll do is you'll clip here, and then you place the device on, and then I hook it behind my ear, right? Sometimes you'll need to adjust it and then reclip it in, and that's effectively what you'll have, right? And then you put the machine on, and then you find your settings, right? And that's it. So you can use this in your day-to-day activities in combination with whatever you're doing. So it's quite helpful and nifty because you don't actually have to take time out your day to use this, but of course you can as well, right? So in terms of why I am obsessed with this at the moment, from clinical experience and observation, number one, so coming from a traumatic background, I noticed things in my body, and I'm very aware because of my work. I noticed that stressors that normally act as triggers that create anxiety have drastically declined. So things that I normally would react to, I am now responding to, which is a huge thing. And a personal story is when I first started this machine, it was 2 days before I actually went to go dissect in a cadaver lab at a university hospital, so aka dissecting dead bodies. So just for the first time, I dissected 10 dead bodies. So it was quite an overwhelming experience. But what actually happened, basically the cadavers' heads are covered while you're dissecting the lower body, the lower aspects of the body. And one of the students said, "Oh, can we see the face?" So the technician, I guess being there for 23 years, is a little, very much desensitized. But he said, "Sure, no problem." And he just took this cloth and he ripped it off this cadaver's head. And it was a very traumatic experience to see the face of a dead body. It's more real now. You're seeing limbs is different, extremities is different, the torso is different. But when you see the face, it's quite overwhelming. And later that night, when I got home, I actually had a bit of a breakdown. I was crying, but it wasn't like a normal it was like a deep anguish and pain. And I realized powerfully from having done this machine a few days prior that it's calmed my nervous system down so much. It allowed me to cathartically release trauma from my childhood when I had to go identify my dead father's body at the hospital. It was the same motion that this was a morgue technician, security at the morgue, who was / also the technician. So she just ripped the cloth off my father's face. And it was that same experience that happened. And clearly, being a kid, I didn't process that experience properly because I didn't have the adult mindset or the emotional tools, because that was the first ever massive traumatic experience. So I actually found from a traumatic point of view that this machine had actually helped me calm to a point that I could actually get that let's call it emotional blockage out. So I was blown away by that because I've been holding on to that for 17 years. So it's quite a big deal. So I really had a very deep, sad, sobbing experience that whole night. I needed a day to recover from that. And I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off me. So that was my first beneficial observation from this experience. So I think, wow, can start bringing out traumas that are hidden in the body or in the mind that the body wasn't or isn't ready to process, because it's just, this is not safe enough because it's just constantly on. I found that impressive. I started to notice improvements in circulation and heart rate variability, improvements in sleep. So I'm someone who, when I was struggling in the corporate lifestyle and highly activated, I was sleeping maybe about 4 hours. Lord knows what that resting, how good those 4 hours were, probably not good at all. I get an average of 7 hours now, but since being on this machine, my body is starting to feel so less stressed that now it's trying to catch up on sleep. So I'm easily sleeping 8-9 hours now, and I'm feeling this very deep, restful sleep, which I can say is like no other. And of course, being in this field of work, I really, really, really value and understand the impact that sleep can have. And it's one of the nature's secret recipes that if you want to get better, you need to work on your sleep and hydration. Sleep and hydration, that's one of my two biggest things that I repeat to people all the time. So I thought that's been extremely powerful. So now, and I speak like that anxious voice in your head that's always going, yo, you need to get up, you need to do this, you've got all these tasks, you've got to do this, you've got to get to emails, you've got to reply to people, you've got to get this, got to do that, you've got to achieve that. You want to be superwoman, superwoman has to do a million things in one day. So that voice seems to be toned down significantly. So it's kind of this premise of, I know I've got a million things to do, but I'm okay, and I will do them at the time I need to do them. And so now I can do them more effectively, I can do them more powerfully, I can do them with more presence. So I'm able to effectively complete a task, move on, and then do the other one with my whole heart, my whole mind, my whole presence. So I find that very powerful. So I noticed that, so that's very powerful. So in terms of anxiety, stress, depressive-like symptoms, so I highly believe in that, absolutely, highly believe in that. I noticed I had an argument with my partner, and because I've been using the machine for some time now, and I noticed how calm my body has been, and now I've actually gotten into a triggered situation, I started to notice my whole body was tingling and stress and shaking, and I was like, wow, I'm finally present to see that my body has been so calm through using this device, because it's the only new thing that I've been adding into my regime. And now that I'm actually triggered by a situation, I can feel the nerve. I thought, wow, that's impressive, because I needed this contrast to show me actually how helpful this is. I noticed a positive knock-on effect from a gut health perspective, because this is the work that I specialize in. So I'm really honed in on my work after nearly a decade of understanding and researching in the work I'm in. My area of interest is now about gut-brain axis. So speaking about that, it's about how the brain can then affect the body, coupled in with my training around Tibetan medicine and Chinese medicine, which is more than 5,000 years old. They've been saying from day one that if you have anxiety, depression, feeling unrooted, feeling ungrounded, this will all impact your digestive system. Right, so now Western medicine is now catching up and saying, yes, actually that's true. So now what I can see from using this tool and this device is that there is an improvement in digestion. So that means positive knock-on effect. People go to the toilet properly. People will have a better microbiome and a more diverse biome, because you can start to eat more foods which your body won't be as triggered. So that means there'll be less bloating, there'll be less water retention, there'll be more harmony within the body. And you can actually start to notice, especially with time, that foods that you are normally sensitive to actually are not triggering or are less triggering. So there's an improved sensitivity around that, which is great, because with this machine they're doing so much research. So I've used on clients that are suffering with ADHD, POTS syndrome, immunity issues, severe allergic, extreme stress, depression, trauma background, reproductive issues. So just noticing their improvements, and also inflammatory bowel disease as well. This starts to calm the system down, and the system just stops attacking itself essentially, because it's not woo woo woo. It's kind of like, okay, we're calm now. Can our body and mind and every resource within the body send good soldiers to go and repair now? Because as I always say, if you're in flight freeze fawn, your body doesn't have the capacity. It's running away from the saber-toothed tiger, even though it's not literal anymore. It doesn't have the resources to send for repair and digest, right? So that's what happens. So when you're in a state of fight, flight, freeze, your body says, okay, what are the functions that are not necessary? And that would be digestion. So that, of course, then understands with the work I come in is there's some level of stress in the body, in the mind, or both. So this is really, really helpful. So I can say in the short amount of time that I've used it, I can't tell you the amount of benefits I've experienced personally and also that of my clients. But I absolutely recommend this device. Put my name on it. Like, you know, like George Foreman, so good at putting my name on it. I wish I could. But this is really the next thing in health and well-being, which is understanding that the body and the mind need to connect with each other. As I always say, explaining the aspects of trauma is that we have our body, our mind, our energy body, our emotional body, our physical body, and it's all in one when we start, when we're born. But due to lifestyle experience, behaviors, traumatic experiences, it starts to separate. And this is how I term levels of disassociation. So I'm trying to get work that we try to get our body back here. I kind of feel like my work's just been here. And I think that this device is now bringing it here. So if you're interested to know more, the link of this device is below. And I've been grateful that there is a discount code that I can refer onto you guys as well, which is really, really helpful. And if you have any questions or you want to know more, I think another really impressive thing to talk about with this device is that there's a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you feel like you are not experiencing the benefits that you think you should, or maybe the need that you feel like you have is not being met, one, you need to come talk to me, and then I can also help you from different aspects because I work on the whole, mind, body and soul. But then that's how confident this product is that they have a 30-day money back guarantee as well. So yes, if you have any questions, let me know. If you have any feedback, I'd love to hear your opinions on this machine. And I hope this video is helpful, and I will be back with another video next week. Have a lovely day. Bye.